similarity right there.
It's crazy because it's like multi-generational already.
Because we're all the same about it. But my question is, are you all horror fans? And if so, what type of horror films do you all like?
I like horror films.
I do. I appreciate them. I wouldn't say I'm a horror fanatic, but I do. I dig them a lot. I like, again, like the behind the scenes and the gore and special effects. I think that stuff is really cool. But like as a kid, I did like them a lot. I was very much into, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. But my all-time fave from back in those days was the Hellraiser series. So yeah.
I don't like horror movies. I think there's a lady in here whose husband was like a huge horror fan, and he's actually like a scare, or I don't know if they're even in the audience, but she's like, I'm too scared. I'm scared of my own shadow. I'm kind of that person. So I like the spooky more than the scary, and yet I'm in all these horror movies. I think that works because it's real life. I'm really scared of people who are just scarily. And actually, but I actually really liked The Shining. That was, because for me that there's more drama in it, even though there is the gore, but just the intense like thriller aspect of it was more my speed, I think.
Great movie.
Yeah, I love horror movies. Not a fanatic, per se, but I do appreciate it. I grew up watching Poltergeist.
No.
Gremlins.
No, I'm Poltergeist.
Some Evil Dead stuff. Yeah, it's great escapism.
Heart of Darkness, all great.
So this is a fun fact. So where I lived growing up was this place called Topanga, and they would shoot all the exteriors of Friday the 13th down the hill from where I lived. And one time when I was like 8 or 9, I ran into my dad, to my parents' bedroom. I was like, Daddy, there's people screaming. He's like, come here, I'll show you the window. There are people shooting a movie down there. And lo and behold, it was, Friday the 13th. And my sister and I would walk down to this waterfall and see like blood on the trees. And be like, that's not real blood, I think. But I think it was remnants from the movie. So I just couldn't get away from horror, you guys. It's just going to be part of my life.
Before we go, can we plug some?
Allison, what's happening? And just people were being pulled away. Can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? And then the 25th anniversary, that was like a whole other level, right?
Yeah, and Kenny Ortega directed that as well, so it made it even more spectacular. But yeah, we had acts like Christina Aguilera performing.
She's her favorite movie,
That's her favorite movie, so she was just like, yes! And then obviously from High School Musical.
Yes, the performers from Dove Cameron.
Sorry.
I can't remember anyone else's names, but yes.
They didn't like the voice, so they brought in Jason to recreate it. I would say for me, the whole thing was a blast to film, but some of my favorite parts was when we got to work in the Sanderson house, because I was always like very interested in what goes on behind the scenes, so like art decoration and the cinematography and the props and everything. So like when we got to work in that house, the amount of detail that they put into it was just so incredible that we would actually go and like eat lunch in there sometimes because it was just cool to hang out in the house. So those are some of my fondest memories.
Yeah, my favorite scene to shoot was when he brought the witches back to life, because I wouldn't have.
Why is that?
I don't know. That scene was so incredible because, of course, we're talking about the advancement of technology these days in films. He's talking about never having walked on set, that's normal nowadays. But back then it was all practical effects, and my favorite part of shooting that was there was literally like wind blowing in that scene. There was the light bulbs were popping, and the green was coming out of the ground. The floorboards were moving. I remember now, I'm starting to get memories back of there was actually crew outside like pushing the floorboards up and down the house, and So we didn't really have to act. It was just like, "Whoa, what was happening?" You know. And it's such a special moment, and it's an exciting moment. And I feel like that should be a ride at Disneyland. You know, you light the candle and have it go up.
One rides broomsticks. One vacuum cleaner.
You can do whatever they want, whatever props. They can hold the match, you know, 5 minutes and all that. Or it could just be, you know, a haunted mansion type thing where you stand there and everything happens, but stuff. Anyway, Disney, call me.
I'm looking for a job. I can light candles all day long.
Big, small, black, white, yeah.
Guess who?
And have me on set. So that's why my voice is coming out of Thackeray Cat and Thackeray the Human. So I wasn't on set. My situation was I saw the movie mostly done on the screen in the ADR stage. But I was on set a couple times just visiting them because we're friends. This is before I even booked the movie. And I saw the Witch's Cottage, which is on a soundstage. I'm sure they'll talk more about this in Disney Studios. It was absolutely amazing. So I got to be part of it before I was part of it. But you guys had a lot more like on-set magic.
We filmed like 1 or 2 scenes, right?
They superimpose you guys together later.
Yeah, that was the first introduction of CGI, so I never even stepped on set.
But he's actually kidding, but not kidding, because it was the first CGI cat. So, you know, Thor and I were like privy to the beginnings of that. They're like, come kids, look at this new thing that we're doing called CGI. And, you know, it was not just like a talking puppet cat, you know, like Toonses or something. It was
Or Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it looked more realistic. So that was the coolest part too.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there at all. Everyone recognizes, I get this question a lot, but you all recognize like that's not me in the beginning of the movie, right?
I know they look almost identical, but it wasn't.
That's the lovely and talented Sean Murray from NCIS, lots of things. He was originally hired to be Human Thackeray and to voice of Thackeray.
Because you're a pro. Not subpar.
Such a subpar job.
I think the most difficult scene for me, because it was only my second film, was the scene where I had to do the salt. Because most people don't understand this, but we were minors shooting the movie, so basically there was many times we had to imagine the witches in the sky and they imagined us on the ground because we had to switch over. The witches would shoot now, and then it was the kids in the beginning. We had to go to school and we only could shoot 10.5 hours. Meanwhile, they had no school and 12 hours they could shoot. So basically it'd switch us. And so there was only like a short hour or something where we would be together if we needed to be together. So finally that scene comes, and it's not one, not two, but all 3 witches in one scene with me when I have to be like brave and strong. I'm like, oh my God, my idols are in this scene with me up in my face. And I was just like so nervous. And Kenny Ortega was like, are you okay? Really throw that salt around. Like you just like, sprinkle. Like salt bin. It's just like, poof. Nothing. That won't help anyone. So it was basically not difficult, but just nerve-wracking, and I definitely overcame it too.
There's a TikTok review of the movie, and when they got to that scene, the guy's like, and she didn't just throw the salt, she performed it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Okay, question over here, camera right. Thank you.
You know where's
Hi. In the sequel, the witches end up not flying on brooms; they fly on the vacuum in the Roomba. What is something practical that you use to fly?
Yes.
That we would fly?
That we would fly. A DeLorean.
Hoverboard.
That's a DeLorean.
You said DeLorean? Oh yeah. Okay, it's not changed my name. I wonder if I can do the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Same.
know you always
Come on,
find.
come with me, little girl. On a magic carpet ride.
And there go magic card.
Jeez, gotta help him out.
Where are you? What would you pick? Young lady?
Yeah, who asked the question?
Oh, she left. She's like, wow. What would you choose?
I would say the Swiffer Sweeper.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I guess we preferred Kenny's Muscali.
Kenny's just magic. I mean,
He's magic, yeah.
we love all of his movies, right? So that particular movie, I felt really brought about all of his talents and congealed it all into this wonderful movie. I think he really had, as we, you weren't there, but we on set, we just felt every day like uplifted. He would just, the beginning of the day be like, hello, and just gesture with his arms and, had a very, broad way of directing and again, had more energy than we did sometimes.
Yeah, it's just very uncredited because we get a lot of the spotlight, either us or people on screen. And without Kenny was literally blue.
He was.
Just really brought everything you see out in that movie.
It has that magic, right?
Well, let's put you back on the spot.
Babes, right? So, but recently he did say, I told people at this a meeting where there was an icebreaker, and he's like, I told people you're my favorite comedian. I was like, really? I was like, yeah, Allison, she's funny, and I was like, oh. So I guess he did remember it. Anyway.
I don't have any kids, but I do have some stepkids, ish. And when I first met them, they basically put Hocus Pocus on the TV to introduce themselves to me.
Oh my God.
And that was kind of silly, like that was their humor into introduction, like, we kind of laugh about that.
Hollywood.
Yeah. They were stoked, and I was stoked, and it definitely was an icebreaker, and it was cool.
That's sweet.
I'm trying to remember. I know I showed my son Hocus Pocus. I can't remember. He's not. I know I saw him. He's not excited by anything that I do. He's just. I'm his dad. I'm not special to him. I'm special like in a different way. But I did show him Erie, Indiana. Has everyone seen Erie, Indiana?
I watched Erie, Indiana.
You were there.
I've seen a couple of.
You were in it.
I was?
You were in it.
Too many concussions, guys. This is
Or
what
something else.
and something else. The girl is dead.
But I
What shows you were in?
But I did show him Erie, Indiana. But I didn't think he was into Goosebumps. So let's try Erie, Indiana. See if he likes that. And I didn't tell him that it was me because I played like the foil for him in this season. And my son was watching it. And again, didn't tell him it was me. And my character's like sort of mean to these guys, and my son's just like, so like, why are you such a villain to those characters? Like, I ruined that story. Next question.
8, and it was interesting because my hair was brown during that time because I was doing a movie where I was playing a brunette, and people are like, you kind of look like Hilary Swank, but right now, but I know you're the girl from Hocus Pocus, so like people were really doing forensic examination of me in this moment. So around 2008 is kind of when it started coming around again.
No, wait, because I know you left the business for a while, but did people pick you out here and there?
So I got very lucky. I don't know. I just I barely ever got recognized, and I kind of liked it that way. I got to live a very private life, not in the limelight. I also moved away from LA and was like up in the mountains for a long time. So I just I didn't see it, and then I guess I just changed a lot. That was kind of like that was my pubescent moment.
Thank goodness you're not looking like a child.
Yeah. What are you trying to say? Trying to say I need more Botox? More fillers?
Plus, when we were growing up, Halloween wasn't like a big old thing. It was more like, plastic kind of costumes, We couldn't really, like toxic costumes with like a mask that you could barely breathe out. I'm sure you all have a memory right now of that. It's just kind of gross. But there's like a funny memory I have too of because this movie was a flop, nobody recognized me, but I went as a plain 18-year-old trick-or-treating with my friends in my hometown, and this one lady's like, "Excuse me, go away, you're a little old to be trick-or-treating." And that was the end of my Halloween experience, but it was more, that's just more of my memory of like a funny moment, you know, I was finally too old at 18, and they, lo and behold, now they'd probably be like, "Come in." I feel like looking at it through my son's eyes is the better feeling of like, you know, seeing him see Halloween and being all dressed up.
I love Halloween since I can remember. My mom's a costumer, and she always made my outfits for me, and I knew exactly what I wanted to be on November 1st for next year. Like, I couldn't wait. Like, I'm sure always Halloween, really leaning into it. A fun memory about it kind of coincides with like how did you realize the movie was getting popular. I was invited to, I live in Nashville, and some friends of mine invited me to a Halloween party at their house. They said, "Yeah, it's gonna be Hocus Pocus themed. You should show up and let me in." That'll be fun. I'll dress as Binx. I got a black suit, I got some ears, I'll put some whiskers on my face. I'll show up and I'll be in character and nobody will know, it'll be fine. But I show up and they decorate their entire house to look like the Sanderson house. And the gals that were hosting the party dressed as the witches, they had a movie on. And I was like, okay, this is turning into a thing, I guess. And then someone took a picture of me, and that picture, like the next day went on BuzzFeed. It's like Jason Marsden dressed up as Binx. It was like, people care? Wow. Then you go to, you know, as a Halloween fan, I go to Spirit Halloween every year. There's always more and more merchandise. Decent,
Hocus Pocus, yeah.
More and more merchandise, so yeah.
Wait, what year was that? Do you remember?
Shortly after I moved in 2013.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah, that would be a great scene of us having, you know, a couple's argument, a married couple's argument. Like, "I told you we should have taught them to not light the candle. Now look at them. They're back. What are you gonna do? Any trucks like this?" I know. Exactly. Giovanni all of a sudden. Or Christopher Boy. Where's Dave?
The sequel would, or the third movie would come out sooner than you're like 100 years old.
Honestly, that would be fun if we could like over-exaggerate it and make it a silly, fun thing to do on television. And of course, didn't I tell you we shouldn't have let them light the candle?
I do think Allison would be running the museum like she should have, maybe doing it in the second one. So yes, just like because it's in her family history to run the museum.
We got time for 2 more questions. Go with you.